What's going on, guys? This is Michael MGF, and today I'm going to be doing another analysis video. Woo! And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I've just been doing so many analysis videos, it's been pretty insane. And but this is going to be the analysis video on the new LEGO Star Wars 2015 MicroFighters, as promised in the LEGO Star Wars 2015, the mainstream sets analysis video that I did previously. And yeah, so these sets are really awesome, aside from one, and you guys know the Planet series did not work out, so this is LEGO's basically replacement for that. They give us bumper cars and a minifigure for $10 and or $12, whatever it is. No, it was $10. Yeah, I just haven't bought it. I haven't picked up a microfighter in a long time. But yeah, so I'm really glad that I actually waited a little bit to do this analysis video, because thankfully LEGO, or not necessarily LEGO, but whoever leaks these images did leak some images of the new, Anakin's, his Jedi Starfighter that he used during the Clone Wars, the Micro series back in 2003 and 2005, way before the Clone Wars we all know and love began, and the new Hailfire Droid, which I'll probably talk about those two sets later on in the video, if anything, or not. I might save them for their own separate analysis video should we get some better photos of them, because the ones we got, the resolution isn't necessarily that great, but we'll see. And but what I was really trying to say there is that we got photos of the final Microfighter set coming out with this lineup, the ARC 170. So now I've got the entire series, and I'm not going to be saving any more Microfighters for a separate analysis video. We've got them all right here, so without further ado, let's get started. We've got some pretty awesome Microfighters in this lineup. I mean, we've got a really great AAT, Vulture Droid, the ARC 170, and the Snowspeeder, and then we have this. I say it that way because this is easily the most weird looking out of all of them. The rest are really recognizable, and you can tell what they are right off the bat, and it's just, they're great mini versions of the vehicles that can seat minifigures. And I mean, I can't criticize this, because realistically, what else was LEGO supposed to do with a Republic gunship microfighter? I mean, maybe the turbines on the top could have been smaller, maybe that would have helped, probably, but it's just, there isn't a whole lot LEGO could have done with this to begin with, so I can't criticize them all that much, other than maybe the turbines on the top could have been sized down a bit, with some smaller cone pieces maybe. But yeah, so the minifigure included with the Republic gunship microfighter is, we get one of the same clone pilot that we received with the actual Republic gunship, the exact same one, but with leg printing. And it's really great, because back last year when we were getting all these Attack of the Clone sets, I was like, wow, this leg printing is so awesome, but we don't have any blank leg printing. But starting with the Clone Turbo Tank and a bunch of these sets, we're finally getting a really good amount and a wide variety of sets that include clone troopers that have the leg printing, and that's really great. And I say it with enthusiasm because it's really useful, especially for people like me. Or not necessarily people like me, because I haven't made a custom clone in a really long time, but you know, the majority of you guys who do make your own custom clones, it's a good thing. And yeah, so the Republic gunship itself, it has those same 1x1 tiles with the Republic symbols printed on the top of them. It has some lightsaber hilts on the top to represent the missile system that we all know gunships have, but in terms of actual missiles, the playability on this thing, we have a couple of flick-fire missiles on both wings. The bubble turrets are represented with some clear studs. You have the ball turrets on the front with some antennas, and the two cockpits, obviously one non-existent, because you have to have the clone pilot seated in the 2x2 available space that is clearly available on the Republic gunship. But I mean, this set, it looks really awesome. There's not much I can say about it. I'm pretty fond of it, and it's just I wish the turbines were smaller. That's probably my only concern, is because it makes this thing look unnecessarily deformed. And we've got our second set based on Geonosis, the Battle of Geonosis from Attack of the Clones. We've got the homing spider droid, which is really exciting, because the homing spider droid is it's a vehicle that's really close to me personally, because these things were awesome in Battlefront 2. The memories I had from that, and then having it, and the homing spider droid was my first ever Clone Wars set that I got back in 2008, and then the remake was really awesome that we got last year. So having a microfighter is definitely nothing to complain about, as LEGO did a really great job with this one. The design they were able to pull off here is actually pretty good, and it does appear to have a little bit of articulation that you can bend the legs back and forth, but I can't really see anything else other than that, which is fine, because there's really no reason to have a ton of articulation with microfighters. But clearly the little hatch piece that the main eye for the homing spider droid is set on, you can pull back to easily put the battle droid inside. And the battle droid, obviously, he uses his hands to clip onto the little handlebars available on the little hatch piece, and that's how you seat him inside. obviously no studs for this one, unless there are some that you just can't see that obviously you wouldn't be able to use regardless. And then you have the main turret on the bottom, but other than that, no flick fire missiles and really no room for any that I can see. Maybe that gun does fire in some way, maybe that whole thing. It looks like it is its own flick fire missile, but I could be wrong because I can't really see it that well, and LEGO doesn't in these photos show them to, you know, actually show it to be firing. So I mean, other than that, there's really not a lot to say about this. It's a great design. You get a Geonosis battle droid. We've seen them before, and it's appropriate for this set, so no complaints with this one. I think it's a great microfighter, and it's good to see. Next up, we've got the ARC 170 Starfighter, and we've only got one photo of this one, so I apologize for that, but that's really all we got, so I can't actually, you know, see as much as I would like to. But based on what we can see on the box art, clearly we've got the definitive ARC 170 pilot. We have not seen an ARC 170 pilot this good since the ARC 170 itself back in, like, what was it, 2010, 2011, one of those 2 years? And it's exciting because that looks really, really awesome. And he's no specific clone pilot that we would know of. It's not oddball or anything. This is just your standard clone pilot. You can see that on the top of the box. It says it right there. And it looks awesome. The new face looks awesome. The new printing on the helmet. We've seen the mold before, but the mold is really great. No reason to redo it. And the torso looks awesome. It's accurate and it looks really great. And it's about time that we got a definitive version of these clone pilots. It's been way too long. And yeah. So there's that, and then the actual microfighter itself looks pretty awesome. You can see clearly we have a couple of stickers, really detailed stickers on the front for like the main engines, which is really great, and I can't really see much of the back. Clearly it's using the two transparent cheese slopes for the two cockpits, which is awesome to see as well, and it looks like it will maybe underneath there have either a couple spring-loaded shooters, it looks like that, or maybe they're flick fire missiles and you just can't tell, but they do look like spring-loaded shooters. But obviously, like I said before, this is the only photo we have of the ARC 170 so far, and as a result, I can't actually confirm or deny what kind of playability features this thing will have, but it looks awesome regardless, and the transition into its microfighter form definitely worked out, and the minifigure is really great. This is easily the one that I am most excited for. For our final set based in the prequels, we've got the Vulture Droid, and once again, another great microfighter, and there really isn't a whole lot to say with this one in terms of its minifigure. It's just a pilot battle droid. We've all seen him before, not that exciting, but what else you can expect? Maybe a buzz droid would have been nice, but still, what can you do? And the Vulture Droid itself, though, is pretty great, having a couple of flick fire missiles as its main playability feature, and then once again, the same handlebars that the droids are gripping onto for their microfighters used on the Vulture Droid here. And from the looks of it, it doesn't seem like you can bend the actual Vulture Droid wings like them individually, but you can bend them up and down. So you can readjust the Vulture Droid into its flight position and into, like, you know, its stance position, you know, when it's, you know, obviously not in flight. So it's pretty good. It looks like a pretty nice design. I mean, personally, I would have liked to see a little bit more dark blue on it maybe, but there really isn't a lot to complain about here. Obviously, having this sticker for the eyes, I doubt that's a printed piece, but if so, that's awesome. I can't actually tell by these photos and what we can see based on them. So really awesome microfighter. There isn't really a lot for me to say on this one. It's just a great addition to the series. And for the first of our microfighters based in the sequels, we've got the Snowspeeder, and this was inevitable. This had to happen. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it wasn't even in the first series. But we've got our Snowspeeder microfighter. This one actually only having one flick fire missile on the bottom as its prime playability feature, which is fine. It's just I feel like LEGO probably could have fit two, but regardless, you probably can't flick them that well given they're underneath the thing anyway. So they're probably not that accessible. But yeah, so I mean, I can't really see a lot going on other than that flick fire missile. You've got the two cockpits represented with cheese slopes, and obviously still the 2x2 available spot for the Snowspeeder pilot. The Snowspeeder pilot is not anything specific. He does not seem to have a new torso or pair of legs. I could be mistaken about the pair of legs. If I am, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And the face, however, is new along with the helmet, both of which look awesome. And he does have an alternative face because obviously in the product photo and in the box art, we've got two separate faces going on, clearly indicating that. So it looks really cool. It's not exactly the most exciting out of all of them. It's got the antenna to represent the turret on the back, and overall a solid design with a solid minifigure. Maybe maybe a Luke Skywalker would have been more appropriate, or then again, maybe not, because we have been overwhelmed with Luke Skywalkers. I don't know, it's just, there's not much to say about this one either. But this one, however, is easily the one, if probably the one that I'm looking forward to third, because I'm really looking forward to the ARC 170, the homing spider droid, and this one would easily fall in my third place, but this is the AAT, clearly one of the better microfighters we've received. LEGO did a great job. I just said AAT when I'm really trying to get into the habit of calling it an AT-AT, because George Lucas himself always said that they're AT-ATs, but I've always called them AATs, and so let's see if I can keep calling it an AT-AT. I need to get back into the habit of that. So, yeah, the AT-AT has a lot of functionality. We've got 2 flick-fire missiles on the top as its main playability feature, and all 4 of the legs are articulated in 2 spots, being like the thighs, if you will, and then like the ankles, using some very basic pieces, but still really effective, as that means this is probably the one with the most amount of features. And you've also got the turrets on the sides, once again represented using some antennas, so obviously those can move too, and then the turrets on the very bottom of its head are just, you know, the piece they use on the front of speeder bikes. So I mean, yeah, other than that though, you got the 2x2 available spot on the very words. You have the 2x2 available studs on the top of the AT-AT, and then you have the AT-AT driver, which is pretty awesome. If I'm not mistaken, I think we've already seen him before in the actual AT-AT itself. As you guys know, I didn't really get the chance to review the summer lineup because it came out right as we were moving and going to Brick Fair at the same time, so I don't myself actually remember what that AT-AT driver looked like. So if this is the same one, then be sure to let me know down in the comments section below. I'm pretty sure that it is. There would be no reason for LEGO to do anything otherwise, but overall, this is easily one of the best microfighters LEGO has put out, with a lot of functionality and a pretty good minifigure. Okay, so as promised, I may or may not be doing an analysis video on these, because honestly, these images are crap and I don't want to use them in a separate analysis video with just these 2 images. So I'm going to throw them in here real quick and talk about Anakin's custom Jedi Starfighter and the Hailfire droid. These photos were released along with the ARC 170 Starfighter microfighter photo, and obviously this set is fully based off of the Clone Wars micro series that went on from 2003 to 2005. Right from my childhood, before the Clone Wars I know and love that made me into a YouTuber even began, and this is awesome. The Anakin Skywalker, I can't see anything really about the minifigure. It looks like he'll have a new, he looks like a whole new minifigure, but then again, he might be the same one we had in the gunship last year, I don't know, but obviously it's based off of his appearance in Attack of the Clones and the early stages of the micro series from 2003 to 2005 that we had back then. And the Asajj Ventress is really awesome. She is a completely new minifigure based off of the series itself. There is nothing about her that is based off of anything except the micro series, and the face, torso, everything about it is awesome. And I honestly never thought I would see an official Asajj Ventress in like this version from LEGO. I always thought we would get Clone Wars versions from the actual series that we all know and love, but from the micro series I never thought it would happen. So it's great to see that the actual Starfighter itself is like basically a remodeling of your basic you know, early Clone War? What kind of a Star Wars fan says that? Clone Wars version of the Jedi Starfighters, you know, before they got the ones closer toward Revenge of the Sith. that they use, and but obviously having the attachments on the front with the two engines that we saw in the series, and then the astromech droid also included with this set is not anything special. He doesn't even have a name, but other than that, it does have some spring-loaded shooters, and it is great to finally actually see LEGO. This is once again what I would consider LEGO just basically throwing sets in that they did not get the chance to make before they get bombarded with having to make tons of sets for episode 7. So I feel like they're just like, okay, we didn't do that or that over the past 10 years. Let's do all that now, and before we get bombarded with Disney's new series of Star Wars films and spin-offs that they're obviously going to have to make sets for. So we'll see if that's the case. That's just my personal opinion. But then we've also got the Hailfire droid, and the Hailfire droid, this is honestly really great. My only fear is that it might be a little bit small, but regardless, even if it is, it does have a ton of detail, especially on those printed, especially the printing on those clear discs that you can see. Clearly the thing will be able to roll. It's got an articulated turret on the bottom, and I have to say, this is about LEGO's best use of spring-loaded shooters to date. I mean, usually LEGO, they put them everywhere they can, but here, they really work. I mean, they could have used flick-fire missiles just as easily, but using spring-loaded shooters and having so many of them on this thing makes this thing like the most badass playability set, or set for playability that we've had so far. So I think that is a phenomenal use of LEGO spring-loaded shooters, and overall, it looks like a great reboot of, if you will, of the Hailfire Droid, because the Hailfire Droid has not been seen in a long freaking time. So it's great to finally have a Hailfire Droid again, and the three minifigures included with this set. We have the Clone Trooper Lieutenant outside of his exclusivity that he had back last year, and then a couple of Super Battle Droids. And it's great to finally see the Clone Lieutenant as an official minifigure in an official set, and not really official minifigure, but as a mainstream minifigure in a mainstream set is what I was getting at there. And there is one difference to the Clone Lieutenant, as I mentioned with the pilot. He has the printed legs, so now basically all of our Clone Troopers are going to have printed legs, it seems like, because now the Clone Lieutenant has them. He did not have them last year, if you guys remember. So this is all really awesome. A solid set of microfighters and two solid sets out on top of that I may or may not be doing an analysis video on, so we'll see. But I am definitely looking forward to reviewing all these sets for you guys, but let's go ahead and wrap up this video. Alright guys, and like I was just saying, I am really looking forward to reviewing these sets for you guys. It's just, I've been saying this in about every single analysis video, because usually I would always say that I will be reviewing them, and I usually promise things that I usually can't keep, because life happens, and then my family and I are thronged into really crappy situations where I am barely able to afford half of the line, typically. So it may or may not happen. I'm not guaranteeing how many of these sets I will be able to review, but I will most likely be able to review a good majority of these, if not the entire line. I will do my very best. It just depends, guys. It really does. And hopefully I can, though, because these sets do look really awesome, and I'm really glad that LEGO have put together Anakin's Custom Jedi Starfighter, because that is the best nod to the original Clone Wars that LEGO has ever put out so far. And having the Hailfire Droid with such a great use of spring-loaded shooters is also great. And then on top of that, the ARC 170, the gunship, the AT, all look really awesome. This looks like this is going to be a great start for 2015, and I'm really looking forward to the line that will be coming after this, which will be our first lineup that'll have, I assume, will most likely have Episode 7 sets. So, yeah, guys, this may or may not be my last analysis video. We will have to wait and see on what LEGO puts out and what I end up deciding to do. But if you enjoyed this analysis video and you maybe found it informative, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and/or your opinion in the comments, as both of which definitely mean a lot and definitely go a long way, because it is a lot of editing. Editing analysis videos is way more editing than editing. I said editing way too many times, but the editing analysis videos is a lot more. There's a lot more editing to do when editing analysis videos than there is when editing reviews or showcases. There you go, I said it. But yeah, so that's why your support is always appreciated, especially on analysis videos. And you can also follow me on the Bookface and the Twitter twats. Links to those are always in the description down below as well. And I've been posting all kinds of behind-the-scenes photos and updates of what I'm up to and what I'm working on for my channel, such as I've been working on, I just finished up Baby Groot, which I'll be posting very soon, and then I also am working on some Team Arrow customs from the show Arrow, and then also I started on, actually I didn't start on, but I made a pretty sweet Civil War photo that you guys might want to check out, based on the announcement that Captain America 3 will most likely be centered around Civil War. So a lot of cool stuff over there, and that's why I always recommend it, because it is a lot easier to post a photo over there than it is to fully record and edit a video, and that's why you guys usually only see videos from me once a week, and usually 2 a week if I can manage it. So that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to get back to work on my Master Chief Collection figures and my Team Arrow minifigures, so I'll catch you guys later. Alright. Bye! This series of, actually wait, no, with a LEGO, we've got some really awesome microfighters in this lineup of microfighters. Did it? That sounded great. Just phenomenal.